Good evening, everyone. This is Angie Stewart from My Insight here in Kardec Radio. And today is February 28th, Thursday, 9 p.m. And every 2 weeks, we do the study of this beautiful book, Among Brothers of Other Lands. So this is a beautiful book of messages for spiritists all over the world, talking about spiritism, spreading the good news around our beautiful blue planet. And these messages were brought by the mediums, Chico Xavier and Valdo Vieira, when they were traveling abroad in the United States, but also in some countries of Europe. So it's me being here in Miami, United States, is very appropriate. We understand these messages to spiritists around the world. So the messages are beautiful, they bring a lot of comfort, and they help us a lot. So that's why we study together. So when we are together, we can think about certain things that we might not think. We can ask questions, we can make comments, and it's always a pleasure to have all of you here. In our second part, we study the Gospel according to Spiritism, this beautiful book that was brought by the spirits and codified by Allan Kardec to all of us. So we are starting. Our friends are joining us. And as I like always to say, if you can, put a bottle of water next to you. And when we finish, the spirits will bless the water. It will be your medication to stay with you through the weeks. And I just would like to invite all of you, before I read your names here, to invite you now just to relax for a few moments while we are going to do our initial prayer, okay? Dear God, beloved Master Jesus, thank you so much for the blessing of being here tonight, studying these beautiful books and spreading the good news through the blessing of having internet, through not just the city of Miami, the country of United States, but through everywhere that someone has a computer or nowadays even a cell phone, they will be able to listen what we will be talking tonight. Thank you so much for the good vibrations that we are all feeling at this moment. And please, enlightened spirits, stay with us, guiding us and helping us. Thank you so much, so be it. Very good, my friends. So, as always, we start with Among Brothers of Other Lands. And tonight, we are going to be reading chapter 3. And as I always like to do, I read the chapter. It's only 2 pages, so it's very quick. And then we can talk about it. But you feel free to post messages or questions or anything you want, and I will be happy to discuss about it, okay? So I just want to say hello to the ones that are here. Sueli Rezende. Hello, Sueli. Very nice to have you here. Very good. Teresa Castro. Hello, my dear. You're always here for such a long time. Marques, always here too. Sol Souza, Sol! Sol always here too. You guys are always here. This is a blessing. Sunshine back. Hello, Sunshine. Very nice to have you here too. Carolina Correa. Hello, Carol. How are you? I'm happy that you have a small group in your city too. I was talking to you that I also decided to open a little study group in my neighborhood to my friends nearby, so we can have spiritism far away, we can have spiritism in the internet, and now we can have spiritism in the neighborhood. So this is a small initiative, but if we all could do something like that, we would be going to the time that the Paul of Tarsus opened so many spiritist studies that were in the house of the people. And from there, that's when the churches started. And that's what could happen nowadays too. So don't worry if your spiritist center is super far away. You can start your own in your house or in the park with your friends, and maybe fruits one day will happen. You know, it doesn't need to happen next month, but it's just planting the seeds. That's what is important. So let's go. If you have the book, chapter 3, page 17, Green Fruits, and it's by the spirit of Calvin Van Dyne. The Spiritists, hay of superior knowledge, stumble in resentments and hurts, nourishing a perfectly new attitude when confronted with the ones of other religious principles. Because the Spiritist admits the continuity of life after death, she does not see offenders as enemies or irresponsible people. She sees them as divine companions who need to be rescued to goodness. I would also say that we can see them as children, because when we see people that hurt us as children or as they are sick, then we have a little bit more compassion towards them. Due to that, moral assaults present relative importance to him, her, although they may hurt his or her pride. Why nourish hatred about someone when you are convinced that through the law of reincarnation, the person you hate can come to your arms in the form of a loved one, in the team of your family? Yes, this is good for us, because when we think about it, we start like, ooh, it can be your grandson, your granddaughter. On the other hand, you cannot ignore the evil that reached you, as you are certain of the law of individual responsibility. Herein the balanced behavior that such circumstances suggest to you, serenity without indifference, within which you realize that there is no use in wasting time with hidden sorrows or inappropriate complaints. In this manner, receive all offending manifestations of offense, malice, aggression, or incomprehension that come from others with the tranquility of the sower who receives from the companion wide collection of green fruits, to which there is no way to put them in the area of your interests. And as you know, that the individual who is in charge of that production will work hard to provide mature fruits. Wait for them patiently. That's our difficulty, to have patience to wait for something. Therefore, if there is an effort to be done by the Spiritist when facing attacks off the way, this rematch is always the response of the most efficient service to all challenges that she is a target. Let us remember this when facing injuries and contempt. For us, Christ's words, love your enemies and pray for the ones who persecute and slander against you, do not either mean green light to the ones who wallow in evil. Wallow in evil is like they They delight in evil. They enjoy being evil. So it does not mean a green light to the ones that enjoy in evil, or our superiority exhibited to them. So these two things are not correct. Those words clearly mean that we should not cut the ties of fraternal love to identify us with one another. It confers them the right to be responsible for the mistakes that they practice. And it is on us to envelop them in the restorative vibrations of prayer, while keeping on going with the undisturbed construction of goodness, which will always render in light and truth, joy and blessings for them and for us all. This message was in Silver Spring State in June 10, 1965. So very beautiful message that talks about these green fruits. And we have to understand, what are these green fruits? So we were a green fruit one day, or are we still a green fruit nowadays? Well, maybe we are still a green fruit. So, if you already ate a green fruit, it's kind of bitter. When you take an apple that's not perfect, it's like a little bit bitter. Or when you take a banana, my favorite fruit ever, and the banana is green, it's kind of hard, doesn't taste so good as a yellow banana. So, we want one day to be tasty and delicious, if we can say that, as a beautiful yellow banana, because it's sweet. It's something that you feel the pleasure. That's how we would like to be. We don't know if we are, because when we're analyzing ourselves, we are always great. We are always awesome people, super happy, super funny. But sometimes it's not true. Sometimes it's much better somebody else analyzing us, because then sometimes we even get a little bit shocked with what other people think about us. So what people think is like, oh, it's a very happy person. Other people may think, oh, it's an eternal showing off. So, balance is very important. That's for sure. Balance is always very important. Teresa, we love you. Oh, Teresa, you're so sweet. I need more Teresas around me. Thank you so much. Hello, Claudia Garces. Very nice to have you here. I hope you can come to our next picnic next month. Putting our agenda will be the last Sunday of the month at 5 p.m. So, okay. So let's start analyzing the message of Kelvin. So in the first paragraph, it talks about these spiritists who should have the superior knowledge, but we have to be careful with the superior knowledge. Why superior knowledge? Are the spiritists superior to other religious beliefs? We should not think like that. We have really to analyze. What people think it's superior is actually, we have like a little bit more discernment, because we are blessed to have received the messages from the spirits, and who really believe and understand these messages, because these messages from the spirits were able to open up our minds and really understand there is life after the death of the body. So the body dies and the spirit continues. There are many religious beliefs that agree with this. They understand that. So this is not like something that's very weird. No, many beliefs understand this in different degrees, of course. But the main thing for us is because the spirits, they brought answers to Kardec questions that were questions that no other belief had the answer. Like they have an idea of how it is, but they really didn't know exactly. And then with the time, when the spirit of André Luiz, through the mediumship of Chico Xavier, brought us the book Nosso Lar, Astral City, this even opened up like an amazing level of knowledge, because then we understood all the answers the spirits gave to Kardec, but now we were able to understood many other things. We are able to understand that the way we really live here, it will transcend the way we are going to wake up in the spiritual realm, and also in the way we will be living there. So if you saw the movie Nosso Lar, Astral City, André Luiz, the doctor on Earth, when he dies, he wakes up in a very ugly area, in the lower zones, in a place that he could not understand. It was an ugly place, was all muddy. He was feeling like he was starving, he was suffering. But then with the time passes, and he's able to, with all the moments that he passed there that was so painful for him, he was able to think there is something else. And for a moment, he was able to pray and ask for help. And immediately the help arrived. He was rescued. He was brought to the spiritual colony Nosso Lar, and there he was treated. His wounds, his physical and spiritual wounds, because his physical body perished, but he remained with his perispirit, who was still dense because he lives on Earth. So we know that the spirits connected to the planet Earth are a little bit more heavier than spirits that connected to superior planets. So in the beautiful movie Nosso Lar, he was able to feel good with himself, to start understanding many things. And then he also has the blessing of receiving the visit of his mother, who was a much more superior spirit. So this is another story. If you haven't seen this movie, please go to Netflix, or even go to YouTube and watch it. It's a blessing. But what I'm trying to say is that spiritists shouldn't think above any other religion. And as I say, all the religions are great because they bring us this certainty that there is something bigger than us. There is something more important than us people, and more important than our tiny little planet that we think it's super important. But when you really make a study of the galaxies, you understand the planet Earth is actually very small. Even in our own solar system, it's a very small planet, so it's not that special. So God creates constantly, so there is always a purpose, and there are many planets, there are many lives. And as we're going to see in the gospel later on, when we evolve, we leave our planets to super planets and continue this evolution until spirits. But coming back here, so Calvin, the spirit, is telling us that the offenders, we should look, let me read the sentence. It's, because the spiritist admits the continuity of life after death, she does not see offenders as enemies or irresponsible people. He sees them as a divine companion who need to be a deviant companion who need to be rescued to goodness. And this is true. So when we start understanding many things in life, and when we start studying Spiritism, we really understand that to nurture hatred to somebody that offended us is not going to help us, and it's not going to help him or her. So in the past, when in the past, when somebody used to offend me, or when somebody used to do something that was not good, I had no limits to to stop. I was wild. That's why I'm telling you, there is hope. In one incarnation, I'm so much better. Imagine in hundreds of reincarnations. So this is the beauty of Spiritism, to make us to understand we make mistakes, but we are going to come back here to Earth to live again, to learn more, and to continue to progress. So in the past, when I saw something wrong, I used to go crazy because I wanted to fix it. With the time, I realized that it was not good to do that, because after, doesn't matter the result, but after, I felt bad. I felt really bad. I felt tired and exhausted. And what really made me stop doing that was I was still young in Brazil, and in Brazil you take buses everywhere, not really subways. And the elderly in that time used to come by the front of the bus, while everybody else comes by the back. And when you come in the front, there were like two higher seats that were special for elderly, pregnant women, people with some kind of deficiency, like in the United States also. But unfortunately, a lot of young people, they were sitting there. And in that time, many years ago, we didn't have cell phones, or not with internet. So people were pretending to be sleeping. And I remember this time I had a very old lady, very white hair. She was very fragile. And if you are not from Rio, buses in Rio, they travel in a very high speed, and it's almost like a roller coaster, because there are lots of potholes. So it's an adventure. You are always in Disney when you're going to work or to school in Rio. So I saw that lady and I felt really bad. And I started looking at the people. They were all young and they were pretending to sleep, looking at the window, totally ignoring her. So I made a huge scandal to make someone stand up and give her a seat. But immediately she started, no, 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 please don't, no, please don't do it, no, no, no. And I look at her, I couldn't even understand, because in my mind, I was helping her. I was really making them to get out of their seats and help her. And they actually stand up, because I was loud and crazy. So they all stand up, I think. And she felt so terrible. And she was telling me, no, young lady, please, please don't ever do this again. It's not good. And I was like, what? And I remember I left and I couldn't understand her. In my mind, I was like, my God, I'm doing my best to help her. And she was ungrateful. That was what I thought. But later on, a few days later, that thing couldn't get out of my mind. I'm like, this is so terrible. And I was feeling horrible. And then that's when I finally understood that was not the fact that I wanted to help her that made her bad. Was the fact that I was making a scandal. I was screaming. I was like telling horrible things to the people sitting there. And she felt really, really bad with my behavior. So from that moment on, I started understanding that, even if you have good intentions, the way you are delivering these good intentions might be wrong. The way you are doing something might hurt somebody else. And we have to be careful with this. It would be 1,000 times better if I had touched the arm of someone and asked, I'm sorry, would you be able to give your seat to this lady? She really needs to sit, and this is a special seat for elderly people. I am sure someone would stand up because they would feel embarrassed. And she would feel good by the way I act. But, you know, you only learn with your mistakes. But this is the beautiful thing. This is the process of evolution. This is the beautiful process that God gave to us so we can understand. We can understand with our own mistakes, and through our free will, we evolve. That's the important thing, to see what was wrong and don't do it again. Like Jesus said, go and don't make the mistake and go and make the mistake no more. So this is very important, guys. It's just blinked here, and can you hear me? Last week we didn't have a good internet connection, so I actually bought a extender so you would be able to listen better. I hope you are listening to me well. So let me just read a few things here. So Claudia Garcia said, I'm pretty sure I'm still being very green. Claudia, don't worry, we are all green in certain things. Probably we are not totally green, but we are not perfect yet. But don't worry, you're not alone. We are all there. We are all there. And then, oh, Lucia Bergamini. Hello, Lucia. Very, very welcome. Marisa Chalou. Hello, Marisa. Long time I don't talk to you. Very nice to see you here. So Gabriel Inácio said, that's because I prefer to and always use and say the verb to disincarnate. Disincarnate? What are you talking about, Gabriel? I was talking so many things that now I'm like, I disconnect what the meaning. So I mean always to say disincarnate instead of death and pass away. Yes, we also like to say that. To say discarnate. Yes, we like to say discarnate too. So at least in Brazil, people immediately know, oh, she's a spiritist. So Saul said, before to watch this movie, Nosso Lar, read the book first, if it's possible. The book has more details. The movie is really good. I never get tired to watch it. I hear they are going to do a second movie from the book, The Messengers. Yes, they are doing actually. Mensageiros. And I guess it's another great book. Yes, you are totally correct, because you know, through books we can have so many details, so much information. I absolutely love books. And when you're reading, it's almost like you can travel with the ideas of the book. But yes, movies, they have to restrain too much. They only have like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and they have to cut lots of important information. But as a tool to transmit the Spiritist message, the movie is extremely effective, because you know, movies, a lot of people go to the movies, even if they don't believe, they don't care. They go and they see, and they might be touched by a movie. And the books are super touching, but then you really have to have the little seed inside of you to make you read the book. But they are always important, very important tools. So Carla is saying a weak signal. Weak signal again. I can't believe it. I bought the extender. I don't know what's happening. Vanessa, hello, Vanessa Anceloni. Nice to have you here, my dear. Let me see. Lucia Miranda. I don't know how to say your last name, Lucia. Birmingham must be that. Birmingham. The connection is very good. Oh, yes. Oh, my God. So I hope it continues good. So Teresa said, we judge ourselves by our intentions, while the world judge us by our actions. Yes, you're right. And as I said, sometimes our intention is really good, but unfortunately we deliver the intention through a wrong action. So, you know, with the time, it's so much better for us to really think before we act. You know, I'm saying me, I am very impulsive. So, you know, age is good because it makes you calm down a little bit at least. So nowadays I think more before I do something. And it's so much better because then it makes me realize, oh, maybe if I do like this, it's better than like that. And again, like in the movie Nosso Lar, André Luiz arrived there asking thousands of questions. He couldn't stop 1 minute. And then the spirit that was taking care of him gives him water and tell him, look, take this water and put in your mouth. Do not swallow. This is your medication. And he does it. And he keeps the water in the mouth, and he's like, and he keeps the water for quite some time. And later on, he swallows it. And then few weeks later, when he meets another person that arrived there in the same situation as him, he understands that the water actually calms down the person, makes the person to reflect with their minds instead of just talking. And especially for people like me that talk without stopping, it's very important to know what you're talking about and how you're going to talk about. So you don't say something that's not good. We have to be very careful with this. So Gabriel Inácio said, there was a day I asked if a man could give the place to another person. And then the young man showed me his cane. The young man showed him his cane. Yeah, it's possible. We don't know. That's why it's so good to ask instead of me attacking everybody, because we don't know. Oh gosh, I couldn't be more overwhelmed and ashamed of myself. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't be overwhelmed and ashamed. You did not know. And the elderly person also needs it. So, you know, you did the good thing. And the person shouldn't be offended either, because you were trying to help somebody that's also elderly and also needs a place. But the good thing really would be if somebody else had seen it and had voluntarily given the place. But, you know, we have to understand that sometimes it does not happen, unfortunately. But it's getting so much better. We are all getting better. So if we are getting better, the others are getting better too. But as I don't know who said before, we are still green fruits. So some of the fruits are maturing a little bit more than the others, but we are not maturing equally. And also, as we know, we are spirits that were created equally pure, simple, and ignorant, but in different periods of time. So some of us are older spiritually speaking, than others. So if we can think about the spirit of Jesus, for example, he has billions of years, maybe trillions of years. And he's a very, very old spirit and very wise spirit. Just to think that he created our planet Earth, he's the governor of the planet Earth, who created the planet, who put all of us here. So he is much older than us. So this is a process of evolution. We don't need to worry, but we just need to keep doing the good. And exactly like you do, asking, not screaming like me in the past. Thank God I don't do this anymore. So let's continue a little bit more. And then he talks also, why nourish hatred by someone when you are convinced that the law of reincarnation, the person you hate can come to your arms in the form of a loved one in a team of your family. And this is so true. So why are we going to hate someone? Why are we going to cultivate enemies if we understand the process of reincarnation? We understand the family really want to our bonds through love or to the resolution of hatred. So if you're hating someone, if you're cultivating that feeling, be careful. Be careful because you don't know. Maybe the only solution in the future to make amends with this person will be to bring that person to be your grandson. Or maybe in another life, you are going to come back as twin brothers. So it's very important for us to start this process now. Take the steps now. Yes, I understand that sometimes the problems are really difficult, very, very painful, involves many, many, many things, but we have to understand that we need to start the process of forgiveness. Even if this process of forgiveness is just forgiving ourselves for not being able to forgive yet. But we know we will have to do it. So it's very important that we start praying. He also talks about this here. So let's just jump there so we can talk about this too. Let me see what it is. Oh, here, the last paragraph. Those words clearly mean that we should not cut the ties of fraternal love that identify us with one another. He's talking about us and the person that we have a big issue. So we should not cut the ties. We should not just ignore the person. Oh, the person's there. I can care less about this person. I don't like, I don't want to hear, I don't want to see. Yes, you might act like that for now, but you have to understand that you have to do something more to avoid coming with this person very closely connected in a future life. And then he continues. It confers them the right to be responsible for the mistakes that they practice. So the other people are making mistakes. They are making errors. Yes. And God is seeing this. And they will be responsible for the mistakes they are doing. So one day they will have to go to the divine justice and to pay whatever they are doing wrong. But it's important for us to understand that they are doing that mistake. We shouldn't do the same mistake. And it is on us to envelop them in the restorative vibrations of a prayer. Restorative vibrations of a prayer. Keeping on going with the undisturbed construction of goodness, which will always render the light and truth, joy and blessings for them and for us. So it's very important to understand that when we are praying for ourselves, imagine we are praying for ourselves. So we are praying to restore our health, to make us to feel good, to make us to feel more positive toward others. And we have that super hard time to pray for someone we don't like. It's easy to pray to the ones we love. It's easy to pray to the ones who are sick. But we have a hard time to pray to the ones we don't like. But we shouldn't think like this. Because if you are able to pray for someone you don't like or someone you have a problem, you are already moving forward. You are becoming already a little bit more mature fruit. You're becoming that very good banana. So when you pray to this person, we can see the energy we are sending, but we understand it's happening. So we are sending this loving vibration to this person. And this person is receiving, even if the person has no idea. And let's imagine we go to sleep. You just pray to this person before going to sleep. You go to sleep. You are now free from your physical body, connected by the silver cord. And in the spiritual plan, because of your prayer, you are able to see the person that you hate or hates you. And you see that person, and that prayer you made makes you feel better. So you see the person and you are kind of surprised to see the person. And the person sees you too. But sometimes the spirit is rebellious, the other person. And the person may run away from you because don't want to see you, don't want to be connected to you, don't want to be close to you. But this is how it works. When we pray to someone, this brings us closer, even if in the spiritual realm. So sometimes when we wake up, it's like, oh my God, I had a nightmare with that person. I end up praying and I had a dream with the person. But do not despair. This is actually a blessing. This is a blessing. It's like God showing us that our prayers are very effective. That the person starts feeling our good vibrations. And sooner or later, we'll start thinking, well, you know, Angie is not that bad of a person. She might have done this or that, but she's not that bad. Oh, whatever is the situation, we don't know. But it's very important for us to have perseverance. What happens with us is that we want everything immediately. We want to pray today and tomorrow, ooh, everybody is happy again. The person forgives you, you forgive the person. And you know, we know it's not like this it works. It takes a long time. And depending of what you did or what the person have done, it can take a long time. But it's important to continue, to have perseverance, and to have faith that you are doing your best. You are trying to do. That's the important thing. When I was doing the gospel with my husband many months ago, we were reading the passage of the good person, and there is lots of requirements to be a good person. Very tough when you read the good person, like it's hard to be a good person. But then comes the good spiritism. It's even harder because the good spiritism has to be every single thing a good person is, plus all the qualities of a spiritist person. So I was reading and I was telling my husband, as he is not spiritist, he is Protestant, but he's very open to spiritism. And then I was reading and I was telling my husband, wow, my goodness, when we think too much, it's very difficult. We get a little bit discouraged. And my husband, who is not even spiritist, he told me, wait, here in the book, I hear here, look, the book is saying the important thing is that you are making the effort. And that's the answer. We are not perfect yet. We are not good fruits yet, but we are making the effort to be a good fruit. And this chat room is the perfect explanation. We could be watching TV, we could be watching a movie, we could be doing anything, but no, we are here. We are here studying a book about Spiritism, trying to understand the teachings, and most of all, we are trying really to put in practice what we are studying. So we are these beautiful bananas that kind of green, yellow, and soon will be really good. This is the very, very important message to all of us. And we have to understand that one day, sooner or later, not just us, but the whole beautiful planet will be evolving. So we see it all over internet. We see beautiful things, beautiful things. We should share more these beautiful things. Unfortunately, a lot of people have a tendency because of the media of sharing horrible things all the time. We don't need to share horrible things because the TV already shares thousands of things. So that's their job. They're doing it. So let's do our job. Let's try to share what is good. Let's try to share beautiful initiatives all over our planet. All over our planet, very nice things are happening. And you know, it doesn't sell in the media because the media sells what is terrible. So let's do it. Let's do it for free. bringing a little bit of a happiness, or bringing beautiful messages, or whatever we can do. The little we can do, it's already something. That's the important thing that we have to continue to do. So let me just read a little thing more here. So Carla said, Mother Teresa, if you judge people, you have no time to love them. Yes, so beautiful, Mother Teresa, so special. Thank you, Carla. Beautiful reminder. Daniela Stefanelli, hello, my friend Daniela. So nice to see you here. I miss you, girl. And I will be going to New York in April. So I will write to you, and I hope to see you and your beautiful girls, okay? So Carla Marquez said, a lot of people judge the homeless. Yes, unfortunately. I know a lot of people judge them all the time. And unfortunately, we know because of their very, very difficult condition, they end up drinking a lot of alcohol. Many times they consume drugs and many other things. But we should really try avoid judging them because we don't know what they went through. We only understand that at this moment, they are going through a very difficult time in their lives, and it's very, very hard. Doesn't matter where you are. It's very difficult to be homeless, not to have a place either to take a shower, not to know if you're going to be able to eat. And we know it's so difficult and it's so expensive to eat. And they end up eating just things that are extremely unhealthy. Hot dogs and cheeseburgers because they are the cheapest food, and then they end up getting very, very sick. And in New York City, they actually get obese because of the bad nutrients. So it's very sad. We have always to pray for them, and if we can, we should buy them something. We should really try to give them a meal or clothes, avoiding giving money, because just because of what I said, when you give money because of their condition, most of them, they really don't have discernment to take right actions, and they end up hurting themselves even more. Hello, Alicia Ramos. Welcome, welcome. Nice to have you here from Philippines, isn't it? Very nice to have you here. So Daniela said, I miss you too, and we love to see you in New York. Yes, let's organize. So now we're going to go to the Gospel according to Spiritism. And what we are going to study tonight is very connected to what we were reading in the Among Brothers of Other Lands. So the first portion we are going to study is the chapter 4, number 24, the limits on incarnation. So in this portion here, Kardec made a bunch of questions to the spirits, and he got answers very similar to the Spirit's book. So the first question he asks, what are the limits of incarnation? So he was trying to understand what are the limits, how many times can we incarnate? And then the spirits explain this is much broader than what we think. It's much, much, much bigger than we can imagine. We really don't understand how many times we are going to reincarnate, especially because we can reincarnate thousands of times. I just explained that Jesus is a spirit that probably is millions or trillions of years old. We don't have a way to know how many times he incarnated, but I'm sure there were many, because as we know that God created us all equal. We are all equal. There is no spirit that was created nicer than other. But through our own free will, we make the right decisions or we deviate from them. So when we deviate from them, that's when we have to come back more times to reincarnate, and the reincarnation feels more painful. So in this portion, the Spirit spirits are explaining that there are many, many different types of planets. So we know that our planet Earth is a planet that is still developing. So we just left, we are leaving the phase of trials and expiations, you know, and we are going into the regeneration, in the super ultra beginning of regeneration. We still feel the exactly same things from trials and expiations. So the spirits connected to the planet Earth, they have physical body and denser perispirit. So it's heavier to live on the planet Earth. And here the spirits are explaining, when you start evolving, when you start going to worlds that are more elevated, the spirits connected to these planets, they have a perispirit that's lighter, that's less dense. They even mention here. So the perispirit there, it's more etherealized. So each time they reincarnate, it gets a little bit more purified. When you do the good choices, it gets more purified. And when you continue doing this, then the perispirit gets so much lighter that these spirits, they can go to more evolved worlds where the perispirit of everybody there is lighter. So this is the process. So when we reach the limit of our development, intellectual and moral, on Earth, we will be able to leave the planet Earth and go to another planet, maybe Saturn, where the spirits connected there are lighter in their perispirit. And also in everything else, the spirits are more evolved. So as we know, there is no much hatred, there's no violence. It's so much better, but it also takes a long time. And the spirits are saying that they cannot precise how many incarnations a spirit will have, because it depends on our own free will. So this is important for us to understand. I'm just checking the time so I don't go over too much. So number 25, it goes to need of incarnation. And Kardec asks, number 25, is incarnation a punishment, and are only guilty spirits subject to it? So, do you think incarnation is a punishment? No, incarnation is not a punishment. But yes, many times we feel it as a punishment. And why do we feel it as a punishment? So the spirits give beautiful explanations. If you have more time, please read it. But basically, that's what I said. We are all created equal, simple and ignorant, and then we start making our decisions. So two spirits in the same situation, one may decide to attack somebody else, and the other may decide to ask for forgiveness and make peace. So right there, in a very simple situation, they already took very different decisions, and they are very different consequences depending on the other person. So that's how you evolve faster than other. And then he start explaining all about our free will, the process of free will, the process that makes us to feel reincarnation as a punishment is when, because of our wrong decisions, we start choosing wrongly a lot of times. We make a bad decision, another incarnation, we come back again and we make the same bad decision, and again and again. And we know every reincarnation gets a little bit more difficult. So to make the right decision needs an effort that's bigger. And then they even give a beautiful explanation in number 26, when the spirits, no, actually here was Kardec, explains in a comparison with a school. So you are in a school, And you know, you are trying to do your best, you are studying hard, it's very difficult, but there is always that group. In my time, the group that sat in the back of the classroom, so they were, because they wanted to talk, they didn't want to pay much attention, they wanted to be far from the teacher. And when the tests arrived, they were always desperate because they didn't know much. And unfortunately, many times those students had to repeat. They had to repeat the class. They missed the class. So for them to have to do a whole year again, it feels like a punishment. So this is very, very similar to a comparison to our lives here on the planet Earth. If we act like a bad student, if we don't make an effort, if, like they said in the other book, if you enjoy evil, if you enjoy something negative, if you are lazy, then you will have to come back to do that thing again that you could not complete, or you could not do well. And then that's when you feel it like a punishment. But reincarnation is not a punishment. It's really a beautiful process that God created to help all of us to be able to develop. And many times through our difficulties, we develop ideas, we create things. That's how the world starts improving. Because when we face a difficulty, we have to develop something to go over it. So that's when we start using our intellectual tools to be able to develop it. And when we see someone in difficulties, we start developing also our moral tools, because we have like compassion. We feel compassionate. We feel the pain of the other. Well, I'm talking about a lot of people. I'm not saying that everybody feels compassionate. Unfortunately, one day we will. But the big majority feel the pain of somebody else, and they have a compassion towards this. And even if they haven't done something towards the person, they might think about something else in order to be able to help. So that's how God created us and gives us this impulse for betterment. And this is beautiful. So we help, we develop within ourselves. And when we live, in community, we face people that we love, and we face people that we have problems. And that's the only way to really evolve, because we have to face both. We continue loving this, but we understand that we have to have more patience. We have to act a little bit different with this difficult person. But we cannot just ignore him or her, because as we saw in the other book, that one might come back with our very close family if we don't do it. So let's try to avoid having to evolve with too much pain, because God is so good. He allows us to evolve in a good way, with love, with peace. But through our wrong choices, we end up choosing wrong and wrong and wrong, and again and again and again, and it becomes hard. It becomes tough. So let me see what Gabriel said here. Today, a friend of mine shared a homeless cleaning this shared a homeless cleaning the sewer in order to make the water pass. I think it was good to share. Yes, it's always good to share something good. And if we see homeless, it's so good if we can say something positive, if we can help in some way. I always try my best to do it. And even when you cannot do anything, but just pray for that person. Just pray for that person, and the person will receive our love. And as I said, in the internet, we can always share good things to inspire other people. Alicia said, no more data. What is that, no more data? Gabrielle said, usually people think reincarnation is a punishment when they are doing something wrong or suffering. I've never heard that from someone on the beach drinking an orange juice. I like your good sense of humor, Gabrielle. Yes, yes. Life is beautiful with all the pros and cons, and it depends on us to see beauty and to see the glass always full. I like to say this all the time. When you see the bottle and it's half of water, you ask, do you see the glass half full or half empty? What do you see? And a lot of people, they say, don't you see it's half empty? But no, it's depending on your perspective. When a person is a little bit more positive, it will say it's half full. And that's what we have to be, positive. We have to be positive because the world is getting better, for sure, especially with us living on it right now. So Carla said, oh, it's related with people that we develop virtues. Oh, well, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I missed this one, but when we go offline, I will read and try to understand. So my friends, it's 10:02. I'm very happy that we were able to do everything we wanted. So I just would like to invite you now to close your eyes and we can do our final prayer, okay? Dear God, beloved Master Jesus, thank you so much for the blessings received tonight. Thank you so much for the friends who are here with us at this moment, and for all the other ones that will be listening to this recording on Facebook or in Kardec Radio. Please stay with us, inspire us to be better people, help us to make the good choices, and please bring us away from anything that's negative or anything that can hurt us or hurt others. So we will be always a good instrument of your love and your peace, Master Jesus. Please stay with us now and always. Thank you so much. So be it. My friends, thank you so much for being here with me. It's a pleasure. I hope to see you again in 2 weeks. And we will be studying chapter 4 of Among Brothers of Other Lands. Thank you and have a blessed night. See you soon. Bye-bye.